All right, I think we're live. Hey, what's up, everyone? We're going to wait around for a few minutes, let people kind of transition over from the last live stream onto this one. And today's video is all about biceps, looking at separation in the bicep, a few of my favorite mass building exercises, and really just looking at the range of exercises that you can pick and mix from when training arms, especially with the bicep. So I'll be doing all of these in real time. If you have any questions, post them on the comments. I've got the laptop open right in front of me so I can check out what everyone is asking. But for now, I'm going to basically warm up the biceps, do some exercises and movements to prepare my arms for the workout ahead. So I'm going to get started on that. Hopefully you guys will start posting some questions, and I'll keep coming back to the laptop every so often, seeing what you're writing and incorporate them into the live stream. So first one, really easy. We need a resistance band, which I don't have over here. Just grab one from over here. One of my favorite warm-ups to do is really just an open arm banded stretch. Looks something like this. Arm goes around. I'm hooking it, and I'm just turning away from the body, letting that bicep stretch out. You know, just to point out, a few people have commented, well, what's your view on stretching? Are you stretching beforehand? Isn't that dangerous? Doesn't that impede the workout? I'm not really holding a static stretch. I'm just easing into that movement there, letting my whole arm, shoulder, bicep stretch out. These are great, I feel, just because they kind of unstick all of the fibers, and they just kind of prepare my body, both mentally and physically, for many of the exercises. I don't just want to jump in and start lifting heavy weights, even light weights. I want to kind of prepare my muscles, especially the region at which I'm training the biceps, for what's to come. By the way, I normally have my live stream set up with my team behind me, but it's just me solo in the studio gym today. So if you guys are having issues with the sound, or you're seeing something that maybe I'm not seeing, just leave me a comment. I'll check it out and see if we can correct it. But the whole point of this live stream was to be able to literally live chat with you all as you're posting questions, and incorporate, show some exercises, some variations. I've probably got the camera set up a little bit too far forward, so I'm going to move that out here. All right. So I can see all the questions coming here. Cool. Keep them coming. I know I'm kind of blurry out from the camera. Question there from Johnny O'Neill about the back. We'll hit that another day. Today is all about biceps. I've got a kind of a routine written out already. So it's going to go into that. A little bit of a wider view there. Okay, one more great exercise, or warm-up rather, for the biceps is just an overhand hang. So kind of like doing a pull-up, palms facing back. You can see I'm still on my toes, but I'm just easing into that stretch. I like the stretch in general, just for any upper body movement. All right, and then one more that I might do, I'll kind of come back here a little bit further, is a plank. My hands down. You can do this on a bench, or and we're just doing this. It's just a kind of reverse plank. I can shift my body weight back. I feel a really good stretch on the forearms, wrists, biceps as well. That's the other thing, guys. When we're training arms, don't neglect warming up, stretching, mobilizing the wrists and around the forearms as well. So these three movements, love these for warming up the arms. Just a few minutes. Just add some circulation in there around the wrists as well. I see all of you are posting questions now. That's awesome. Keep them coming. We're going to move on to our first exercise. And all of the ones I'll do today, I'll add back onto the description and include the link to sort of the page on my website. So if you only happen to catch a few of these, maybe you got something else to do and you're kind of in and out of the room, or you want to kind of follow through the workout that we're doing today, this video and all of the exercises will be on my website as soon as we're done. So about 15 minutes from now until the end. Let's get started on the first one. good old-fashioned barbell curl. So we're going to set that up. Now, before I do this, I want to break down my approach to training, not just with biceps, but with all muscle groups. And that is after an initial warm-up, bars rolling way behind me. Typically, I'll perform 3 sets for bigger muscle groups, maybe 4, even 5 at times. But certainly for some of the smaller muscle groups, shoulders, arms, abdominals as well, I like to do 3 sets. I'll always aim for, let's say, 10 or 12 reps with a good amount of weight, something that's challenging, but it's not too heavy for me. I'm still kind of warming up. But then that second set, so the straight sets, set 1, set 2, set 3, all the same exercise, move on to the next one. That's what I call straight sets. At times, I will do circuits or drop sets, but just for optimizing your training, getting the most out of your workout, I believe in that periodization of increasing the amount of resistance, overloading the muscle, providing you're able to achieve that rep range. Okay, so if we're aiming for 10 reps, if you hit 10, go a little bit heavier, 5 or 10% up. But if you're not quite hitting 10 reps, you don't need to be adding more weight. So lower the weight, build up to that 10 or 12 reps, and then go up. Cool? All right, let's get this weight set up. So even though I'm kind of jogging off and on camera at times, usually would have the camera following me, I'm always here, I'm always talking, giving a breakdown of what I'm doing. All right, so barbell, it stands, we get a nice view. That here looks good. Okay, so from the side, look, if we let our arms hang naturally, there they are. But as soon as we curl, we tend to pull our elbows back, which means we're kind of only really curling from this range here. One thing that I find really beneficial is we actually have our arms forwards. Now, this can cause us to round our shoulders. So unless you're prepared to really focus on keeping the shoulders pulled back, and as we curl, if I come from this angle, you can see the bicep is really having to do all the work there by curling up that weight, as opposed to my elbow being back here. Yeah, it's easier. I've got a shorter range, but the bicep is working a lot less there than if my arms are out. So that would be my first real tip when it comes to training biceps. Engage in a full range of motion. Looking at the bottom, even though my triceps tense up, I'm not actively squeezing them. It's all in the bicep, full length there, curl up, squeeze, back down. The bar isn't touching my thigh as well. So what I'm doing or not doing is temporarily resting the weight and then going up into this sort of cheated rep. We're not doing that. Keep the arms forwards, but shoulders back. Curl and squeeze. So we're tensing the bicep, extending, lengthening the bicep out. But look, the bar isn't touching my thigh. So my biceps are full, still with that tension. Whew. Forgot how challenging it can be talking, breaking down, instructing, and doing the exercise. I'm going to take a quick breather and come over here. Love that question. Zaki, hope I said it right. Alternative equipment that can be used instead of barbell and dumbbells. Love that. Stick around. We're going to do some banded one and even some body weighted ones. Cool. Appreciate all the support. Hey, even if you got nothing, no questions maybe, just drop me a comment where you are watching in the world. I want to see where all of you are, which country, what kind of time, if this time works for you. Maybe it's too late. Maybe you'd like it a little bit earlier. Let me know, even though I may not get to all of the comments right now as I'm filming. As I upload the video on my site after, I'll sit and look at all of the questions and answers. Okay, so that's my first one. Those barbell curls, let's do an actual set. So on each exercise, I'll break it down, I'll talk about it, and then I'll actually do an exercise in real time like I would for my workout. So the thing about barbell curls, and most exercises come to that, is you don't need that much weight to really stimulate the muscle. Only add the weight once you've perfected the movement. You can really feel that muscle working, and you've got everything in check and functioning the way it should. So let's turn around here. We've got better light. So I'll do 12 curls here. Got an overhand grip. My arms are about shoulder width. My hands are shoulder width. The wide, close, all variations, but just as far as optimizing your barbell curl, let's keep everything neutral and hand placement about shoulder width apart. Okay, I'm also not gripping it too hard. I got a light grip. My wrists are kept straight. I'm not cocking the wrists like that because I want all of that effort to be done by my biceps. So shoulders back, my chest is up, full length at the bicep without my elbow being too far back. And let's start now. So up and squeeze, one. I've got a nice cadence. I'm not rushing, bouncing, throwing that weight up. You've got to control it. And each rep, I'm squeezing the bicep, contracting it. Okay, halfway. You know, another thing we can do is after we've done that, just an isometric squeeze. You may not want to do this after every set, but I would say after the last set before moving on to the next exercise. So really at the end of your third set. So what I'm doing here is just squeezing and holding the biceps for about 15 or 20 seconds, basically using up any of that muscle energy that I had left. I'm going to feel that one, certainly by the end of the workout tomorrow. One of the lights has gone off because it's on a timer, but it gives a pretty cool effect. So we're going to lift this up a little bit. Okay, how's everyone doing? Let's see. Ireland, London, India, Malaysia, Toronto. Awesome. Croatia, Macedonia. Cool. Okay, next exercise. So barbell curl. You know, hit your 12, keep it strict. You might be able to move more weight by throwing it up like that, but as far as effectiveness and making gains, getting the results that you might want from training, let go of the ego. That weight alone hits nicely for 12 pounds. That's about 30. It's only about 40 pounds. Not too heavy. I can lift more. But as far as really feeling the effectiveness of it, I prefer to drop that weight down and just be on point with my training. I want to show you another variation with the barbell. I've got an easy bar curl up there. In fact, we'll set that one up now. And look, I realize if many of you are watching from home, which I gather you probably are, gyms may not be open. And therefore, you might be thinking, well, how are we going to do these exercises if we can't get to a gym? It's a good question, and I just wanted to share a few of these exercises so that each week we can build them up. And whether you have access to a gym now or in the coming days and weeks, at least you'll be ready and equipped to get in there and plan out your whole workout and get those results. All right, so easy bar curl here. Benefit of this, as you can see, just varied handles. We can do much more of a, well, kind of a wide grip, but it changes the supination, the rotation of our wrist. I like to do all my curls with palms facing forwards. I feel I get the best sort of width across the bicep to be able to lift the most weight that way. By changing the angle of my wrists slightly, it's shifting the emphasis a little bit of how the bicep muscles are being worked, but I also think it weakens some of the exercises. So when you start off after you've warmed up, hit your basics, your basic bicep barbell curls, palms forwards, dumbbells, which we'll look at after as well, but palms facing forwards and just curl them up that way. Once we've got through those, then we can start to add some variation in. And one thing I like doing on the easy bar here, let me turn around so we get some good angles. So I've got an overhand grip now, which is slightly more comfortable than if I was on the straight bar and I'm curling like this, reverse curl. Plus it hits a lot more of our muscles here in the forearm and the nice brachialis there. So once again, elbows push forwards. I'm not pulling them all the way back. I've got my upper arm in line with my body. We're going to do the same movement. Curl it up. Bar comes all the way up towards our chest. Probably see there, I'm really squeezing my bicep. Big difference from when it's relaxed. This is me relaxed. And then I'm actively squeezing the bicep at the top. Mentally, it takes an extra level of commitment because we've got to really be present with each and every rep. Now, the reason I include those in all of my bicep workouts is so that I can hit the forearm and I can change that width and hand placement so that I'm not always generically lifting from this. All of my workouts will have some variation from the previous week, even though we may have the same basic exercises. I'm changing my hand placement, my grip, width, overhand, underhand, barbell, cable, body weight, dumbbells. So we're going to run through a whole bunch of those today. Japan, Bristol, looking through Singapore, Liverpool, Sweden, awesome. I mean, people all over the world. Okay, Romania, great. We're going to move into one. So again, I'll kind of reiterate a few of the bullet points. Barbell curls, full length in the arm. Squeeze and engage the bicep up at the top. Don't let the bar touch the thigh at the bottom. You want to keep tension on the biceps. Once we've hit the basics, add some different variation in, some overhand grip. These work great for dumbbells as well. But I'd call those sort of the big basics. Barbell curls, go heavy enough that you can really challenge yourself to get those 12 reps. We're going to move on to a few different versions now using dumbbells. So we're going to bring a bench over. You'll see as well that I change the height and what's another term? Freestanding to bench supported. I mean, you really can do a lot with just a bench and dumbbells. I'm going to drop this down a little bit here. There we go. Pick up some good dumbbells over here. And we got some light back on. All right, hopefully that's all good for you. So just like with our barbell curl, I like to start off with my palms facing forwards. These actually like sometimes better than the barbell because you don't often have the elbows pulled all the way back. A bit tricky because I'm kind of square onto you guys. So let me turn this around here. Because you're sat, your arms are much more in a sort of a anatomically hanging at your side rather than when you stand up. And it's just easier to keep the elbows pulled back. So if you struggle with really hitting your biceps, try performing some exercises seated. So these are just palm forward dumbbell curls. One of the main benefits of dumbbells over barbell is that we have an extra range of motion. We can rotate, whereas with the barbell, we're fixed. So adding that rotation in and also performing them isolaterally, one arm at a time, allows you to focus on sort of any weaknesses, any imbalances. If you're always doing barbell curls, we will have a weaker side and a more dominant one. You're going to find the dominant one remains dominant and your weaker one never really gets a chance to catch up. So barbells are fine. Hit that mass, get that weight lifted on the barbell. Dumbbell curls, still go heavy, focus on the strictness of the movement. Of course, there are times where you may add a little cheat in to really get that rep up. want to turn the light off here, just I'm seeing it's a bit too much of a glare. That's a bit better. One of the ones I love doing, dumbbells, is changing the variation as well and alternating the cadence. So for dumbbells, typically I'll alternate between each workout, doing a series of curls. And again, I'd stick with 3 sets of these and just try and go heavier and really complete those 10 or 12 reps at most. Other times, do some hammer curls, keeping the grip facing each other. I find that one's great for sort of working a little bit more on the appearance, at least that midsection, the separation of the bicep and that split from the tricep. I find that is a better exercise for that as opposed to palms forwards. Another one that we can do, which is really just a variance in the technique, is you can curl. See? You can do it this way. Curl one, lower the other. So we're keeping one arm in a permanent tensed state. So we'll tire you out quickly. So I might not just throw various sets into my workout because I want to be consistent for that workout, but there might be times where I perform all movements like this. I hold one, curl, lower the other one. Let's bring that camera back up. Take a look at a few questions. How many days a week should you work out for ripped biceps? Certainly once. I'd say up to 2, maybe every 10 days, maybe every 4, 5 days I hit biceps. And rarely would I do biceps just solo on their own. They might be part of, maybe on, let's say Monday, I'll hit biceps, hit some forearms in there as well, get some abs done. And then on a Thursday or Friday, biceps again, but there'd be a secondary muscle. By that, I mean, I might train back or really shoulders, a lot of the rear delts, and then finish off on maybe 60% of bicep exercises that I would normally do compared to that Monday. So it's like 1.5 times I'm hitting biceps because biceps get worked with back. So back workout alone, if that's on a Wednesday, my biceps are getting hit. So to train them again fully on a Thursday or Friday, probably haven't allowed enough optimal recovery time, which I say is around about 70, 72 hours, about 3 days. So if you focus on a muscle group, you want to aim for at least 2, if not 3 days of not training that muscle, even as part of another workout. So biceps being hit with back again before hitting them again. Dumbbell, a few variations there. I've got another good one for dumbbell. It's a classic. It's an old school one. Let's drop our camera down. So just good old fashioned concentration curl. Elbow up against the knee there. Keeping all of this sort of arm structure in line. My wrist, elbow, and shoulder is all in that same plane. Another great mass builder here. Much harder to cheat. It's a strict movement. What we're doing is curling that dumbbell up towards our shoulder, keeping the bicep tensed, especially up at the top. So nice full range of motion there, stretching out the bicep. Even if my arm goes completely loose, it's a little bit more effort, I feel, to start that exercise back up. So I may not go full loose like that. I'll lower down and stop about there, still keeping that bicep under tension. And then just a nice, smooth, fluid motion of curl and extend. 12 reps on there. I'd go straight into the other arm, have my rest, feel recovered enough that I can hopefully go and pick up a heavier weight and come back and do these. And the great thing about these, look, you've got a spare hand. If you're struggling, let's say rep 9 with my free hand, I can just move it up a little, focus on that eccentric on the way back down, and give myself a bit of a self spot to push past that rep. Okay, I want to change up. We've got one more on the bench that I wanted to show you. I've been doing this one for years, and just a classic go-to now for me. Even though I've been in gyms where they have all sorts of equipment, I still end up setting up a bench and doing this one, kind of a single arm concentration curl, or preacher curl rather. Got my arm flat on the back of the pad here. If I were to open out my arm, I have got a perfectly straight line from my wrist, elbow, and shoulder. And by that, I mean I haven't got it cocked out. I'm not doing this, although that is a variation. We're looking at optimal exercises for the best results. So keep everything straight. Let that bicep do all of the work without shifting the tension and the effort outwards. So from here, that's my start point. You see, I've got a little bit of distance there. So my muscle is tense. Same movement all the way up, lower back down. And I like to think I'm really cranking it up. I'm not just mindlessly going through the repetitions. I'm really locked in on that movement as I'm curling up. I'm really thinking about that bicep shortening. It's contracting, and in doing so, it's allowing me to pull that weight up. Now, something I wanted to point out, the main difference between, let's say, performing curls with, there we go, pick up focus a little bit more, is with dumbbells and barbells where we're curling at the side, arm is at the side of the body. This tends to work the long head of the bicep. The long head of the bicep actually comes down from here. So long head of the bicep, and the short head, which is sort of this more bulbous muscle here. Let's come up. Long head is more this one here. So if you want to focus on this one, maybe add a little bit more width out here. A lot of exercises where the arms are at the side of the body. So barbell curls, dumbbell curls, hammer curls, everything at the side. The short head here, which I find kind of gives that bulbous effect, that sort of roundness to the bicep, and especially for something like that, this thickness in the muscle there. You want to have the elbow in front, so preacher curl or things like these exercises. When the arm comes down in front, the short head of the bicep tends to get activated more than the long head. We're kind of cutting off the directness of that muscle. So long head really gets worked here. Arms in front of the body, which you can do as a barbell curl like that, preacher curl on the bench. That's our short head. So that's what we're focusing on here. Another little variation that I like to add in, mainly towards the end of my working sets, after I might help spot and do that curl like that, is a little external rotation. So what I'm doing is turning my wrist that way, just a little. You see that? 20%, if that. Curling up, start to rotate. Oh my gosh, I can feel it in that short head. Curl, rotate, curl, and rotate. Maybe not on every single repetition, but certainly for the final 3 or 4 reps, I'll add that, just that. So I curl. That's the rotation. Curl up and a little rotation. Okay, I'm going to take a little breather, see your questions. Cool. Love hearing from you guys, especially when we're filming live, and I feel like we're all just here. We're just here training, hopefully passing on some good information, and any questions that you've got, do my best to answer them. Barbell, dumbbells. We're going to move on to, let's look at some hammer curl variations before we start to do any of the cable stuff. So I think some of the basic exercises, just dumbbell and barbell, kind of get lost on us a bit. I'm going to come in so my head's cut off here, but I can see I'm still in focus there. Okay, so we looked at our dumbbell curl variations. You can see the arm at the side. I'm not kicking my elbow back. Everything's in alignment with my body. We can perform singles. We can add that rotation in. One thing I like to do when I'm standing as well is focusing on one arm at a time. So look, check this out. We're going to do a hammer curl. Our shoulder comes round. You see that? Comes round and curl. And then repeat. So if I stand more head on, we come round, squeeze, back, and repeat. Now, whilst I love this one for sort of hitting that side, I also feel at times when I'm really into my workout, I tend to do this. You ever do this where you kind of break from form and start to get more into a momentum swing? Well, one way I like to counteract that is to do 2 or 3 reps or even 5 at a time. There's 1, 2, 3. Bring the arm back. Let's bring that left arm in. 1, 2. So I'm not performing each arm 1 rep at a time. I'm sort of performing them in groups. Now that allows each arm to get a short amount of recovery. So 2 or 3 reps, probably not that much more. And what I'll do is try and do maybe 4 groups. So 12 reps on each arm. See if I'm doing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then if I move back into the other arm, that would then be 4, 5, 6. You can see already how much kind of blood I've poured into my arms just from this workout alone. Okay, so some dumbbell, some bench, some barbell. I want to show you guys a few on the cable over there, which I'm going to just move it around there. Okay, don't forget about cables. We've looked at barbells, dumbbells. We do some body weight after, but cables I love for the end of the workout, I feel, because they provide that consistent level of tension throughout the full range of the motion. We're still going to benefit, even though we may be tired, fatigued, and not able to lift as heavy as our initial exercises, going all out with that free weight. Cables allow us to use up of what energy we've got left and kind of works that muscle in a slightly different way. So we've got a short bar here. I've actually got some bands on the resistance on the pulley cable there. Typically that's because sometimes I perform these reps at a higher pace. So I might come up like that, and those bands just stop that weight from sort of jumping up at the top, which can momentarily relieve tension from the muscle. So something like this, I might go higher reps. This might be 20. And I might try and keep a consistent rep range. So 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 20. It's a nice burnout kind of variation there. Plus, you can also then change in to do kind of an overhand grip, work those forearms a lot more intensely. So short bar, cable, step out, have the arms forwards a little bit, but shoulders still back. And however you do it, just make sure that you're keeping the tension on the bicep throughout the full range of motion. You'll feel a big difference from cables compared to the free weight movements. All right, one of my favorites on here, which if you've been following me over the past few years, you'll have seen numerous videos. So let's bring this up. It's a high cable bicep curl. It's quite a bit more weight than I need. Like I said, cables don't need to be that heavy, especially if we're doing them more at the end of the workout. So here, shift that bench over. Stood up, my arm, the underside of my arm is parallel with the floor. And all I'm going to do here is pull my wrist in towards my side of the head, my temple, without rotating my arm. Let me see if I can get a tighter zoom on that. Little bit. We need to change our lens next time. So, love this one for conditioning. Just make sure you're keeping the elbow down. We're not, I'd say this, thumbs up. We start to bring our elbow around and do that. Instantly lose the tension, that feeling on the bicep. So cables, maybe push it up a little bit higher, 15 reps. I'll perform 15, turn it around, get 15 more in, be done. One other one for cable actually that I like, let's do that down here. Is a lying cable curl. Now, you can do this seated or lying. You can even create your own sort of preacher bench, low cable. You can do this with a band as well, put a resistance band there, broomstick or something to loop around. Elbows on the inside of the knees. There, that becomes a great sort of preacher exercise, keeping the arms in front of the body, focusing on the short head there, a real pump there. And then we can also lay down. I haven't got the chain extension on here, so I'm going to shift forwards. But I could lay down and get that tension on the bicep all the way through that movement from start to end. So, just a few of my favorite exercises. Let's bring the camera back in all the way there. I'll come back in here. I see some of the questions there. Okay, I got a question here. Pray for you. What do you think about while doing singles, keeping the other arm in a 90-degree angle so it's constantly in tension? Yeah, I don't know if you missed the last few exercises, but absolutely, I did that one while seated as well. So we can do that one where have them both curled. We're going to curl one. Keep tension on that. Now, I'd say this is a great technique, great exercise to include if maybe you don't have the availability of all of these extra weights, so you can't keep going heavier and overloading the muscle. So you need to find other ways to challenge and keep that intensity up. And I think this is a great way. You're forcing the muscle to have to work harder for longer while you drop down into that rep for each arm. This 12 reps of these are going to feel much harder than if we were just doing 12 reps the standard way. So on that note, I'd say make use of that just as a variation maybe. But for straight up gains, looking to improve your mass and strength, I just think straight sets, heavy progressive weights is the way forward. But I like those variations. So yeah, throw that in there. Someone asking if I'm really natural. Man, we've gone over this year after year. Look, everything I've done, everything I've put out, you guys can do, you can follow to the letter. How I eat, we're going to do more in the kitchen later on, not today, later on next week. Food-wise, training, nutrition, any supplementation, all of which are readily available. These are nothing, no steroids, nothing under the counter. And I've done that from day one. And that's because the information I want to put out was the information I wanted when I was 14, 15, just starting to weight train. And I wanted real information that would benefit my training and improve my knowledge base. And so that's what I try to do. No comments on anyone else. Each person kind of lives their own life and makes their own choices, but I am natural. If you're looking at my physique and thinking, well, how can I ever get to that? I started out quite slim. You can see from the joints, I don't have big joints. So when I'm conditioned, when I'm dieting, basically when all of my training, my nutrition, my rest, my recovery is all straight like an arrow, it's on point, I'm taking care of all of those, then I can see the benefits from doing that. So yeah, natural. You might have other beliefs, that's fine. I'm too old now to worry about them. Someone from South Korea, awesome. Leverage gym. Yeah, we've got I'll give you guys a little kind of tour around as well. So, got some bench, Smith machine there. Come on here, we got some more lever gym. We've got all the weights behind us over here. So I'll make use of many of these. Let me actually turn around the other way. One of our editing rooms over there. Kitchen is just around the corner over there. So we'll hit that another day. But yeah, I'm going to take a seat right here. Kind of finished going through a few of these questions. So if you're watching, and let's get that little cable out the way there. Yeah, any questions relating to bicep training, eccentric movement and timing, Nicholas. So eccentric, the lengthening of the muscle. Great point. Thank you for bringing that up. So far, I've only kind of shown exercises, talked about variations on there. Let's look at the, real quickly, let's look at the focus on concentric and eccentric. So the lengthening, or shortening rather, the shortening and the lengthening. This is the concentric movement. So when you're lifting that weight up, or by definition, we're shortening the muscle, it's contracting. So concentric, eccentric, we're lengthening. Numerous studies out there that show about 40% we're stronger on that eccentric. So as we're controlling, lowering that weight back down, we're lengthening that muscle, we still have strength left in there that we may have not been able to utilize in that lift phase. So great point. I would say both for looking to improve your strength, size, conditioning, just however your training might be made up, focus some portion of that on eccentric. I may not do that on every set because that's going to tire me out and I'm not going to be optimal for my next set of that same exercise. So let me give you an example. Let's say we're doing our dumbbell curls. I'm seated here. Set 1, if I was just kind of warming up, hitting those 10, 11, 12 reps, nothing different about this, just straight sets. Have a little 30-second, 45 seconds rest, mentally prepared. I go and get some heavier weights. So from 20 pound, I've maybe gone up to 25, maybe even 30. Now, I'm on the heavier work set, my main work set, really, that's set 2. It's really causing me to have to give it everything I've got. With these, I might add a little bit more of that sort of slower concentric, might cheat a little bit on that concentric, 3 or 4 seconds, whoa, really force that downward curl, the eccentric portion, for about 3 reps at the end. And then for that third set, if I can go heavier, I'll go and do that. So I might go from 25 up to 30, 35 pounds. And my training principle there might be to include a drop set or strip set. So I'm going heavier on each one. Now that I've gone heavier, hypothetically, let's say these are heavier, I curl. Oh, I'm getting to 4 or 5. Maybe this is rep number 6. Is everything I've got? I can't really cheat. I can't even hold the weight back down. Rest pause. 15, 20 seconds max. We're going to put the weight down. You're going to rest. You're going to pause the set. Doesn't mean you're going to walk around, talk to everyone, get on your phone. Just mentally visualize picking that weight back up and getting a few more reps. About 20, 30 seconds go by. You can recuperate just enough muscular energy, that glycogen, to, again, hypothetically, get those 2 or 3 more reps out. Always challenging, always pushing. Okay, that was only 5, 6, 7. A few more reps left. It's unlikely if I do a rest pause now, I'm able to pick that weight back up and get any real decent coverage out of it. So I'll pick up a lighter weight. Let's say these are our lighter weights. All right, final 5 reps. I'm really working to get those 5 reps. And then again, those final 3 reps, giving it everything I've got to focus on that eccentric portion. So I don't know if that makes sense. As a bit complex it might sound. 3 sets. My goal is to go heavier. If I'm unable to go heavier, I'll add something that makes it more challenging. So I'll slow down on the eccentric, or focus on some single kind of pause and rep. Might include a drop set, but my goal is to go heavier. So I'll add all of these in the description after, because there's a lot just to mention, but hopefully that gave you an insight into, cool, all right, I'm glad it makes sense. All right, let's see what everyone else has got going on. Love these comments, by the way, thank you. Pretty much wrapped up here now. Okay, which superset is best for biceps? Great question. This will be the last demonstration, and then I'll finish on a few more exercises. So superset, doing one movement and then immediately followed by another movement of the same sort of type, if you like. Basically, I'm hitting the same muscle. Two ways to look at this, and this is just my opinion from my experience and years of training. Option one is to basically mimic that same movement. An example would be, let's say, I know this isn't really that heavy, but let's say I was doing a barbell curl. 10, 11, that's my 12th rep, I'm maxing out. Same type of movement, might be going to pick up a cable. It's hitting that muscle from a different variation. You know, I've got that consistent level of tension pulling on the bicep. So that's the first example of a superset. Same type of movement. Another one for back could be going heavy lat pull down. Once I've reached failure on there, going to do some chin-ups, same type of movement. I've just changed the approach a little bit. The other one is to work a different variation of that muscle. So we could go from a barbell curl, arms at the side, to then maybe a single arm preacher curl, you know, that incline bench. So I'm working more the short head, or back into that cable. So it's a different approach. Neither one is necessarily better. It's just maybe the mindset that you're in. I would say if you're looking to improve your strength, and with that a certain amount of size, then probably that first approach of same type of exercise, a barbell curl, superset that with your cable curl, and not necessarily for every set. You can, but you're not going to optimize results like that. Maybe just on that final working set, give it everything you've got, go all out, and then move on to your next exercise type. But there's also times where we just want to have a good workout. Maybe you're in the gym, maybe it's starting to get a little bit more busy. You can't wait to get your exercises. You're going to make use of what you've got at that time. There's nothing wrong with that. I like to break my workouts out each or every other week to straight set, bodybuilding type, lift as much weight as I can with good form. And then the next week, I might do the same type of workout, but instead of that same mentality of go heavy, straight sets, let's always try and overload, I'll do circuits. You'll see on my Instagram story, I'm doing 12 different exercises in groups of 2 and supersetting them. It's just a variation. It gives me a little bit of a kind of rest, recovery from that all-out effort. And mentally, I'm then looking forward to it for the next week. So hopefully that made sense to you. All right, are you training one muscle a day or a split? Another good question. It differs. Typically, I like to train one muscle a day. Again, I fall into that just the way I've trained for years, which is that kind of bodybuilding mentality. The reason for that is I can really mess up that muscle in a good way by shocking it from all of these variations. Back is a great example. If I'm training back, I might do some abs beforehand. So on that kind of part of your answer, one large muscle group with one small muscle group. But my priority is one big muscle group, make it count, make it worthwhile. If I'm hitting back, arms, I'll probably train biceps and triceps. But there's times where I'll just train biceps and just train triceps. So typically, I probably would combine it with a smaller muscle group, but I wouldn't, my opinion, I don't normally do like chest and back or legs and then chest, just because of the amount of time I spend in the gym focused on that one muscle group. 45 minutes to an hour is about the most I feel I can give and get from it. It's beneficial. Anything more than that, it's nice to be in the gym training, but as far as efficiency, I'm sort of stepping beyond that. Do you take protein like Gainer? No, I don't. My protein's probably dropped down now, which maybe I'm not looking as big as I may have. Let's kind of drop our camera down there. That's a better position. Yeah, so protein, look, I'm still taking probably a good 1.5 grams per pound. So 175, about 200 and something grams of protein, which, you know, you might seem a lot, but if you look at that as a percentage of my overall food intake, I probably only make up less than 40%, which means the remaining 60% of my calories, more than half of the food I eat, comes in the form of fats, carbohydrate, fiber, although that's not really accessible as a caloric energy. So protein probably makes up 35-40%. Gainer, look, the truth behind gainers are that they have a lot of calories. So it's not like they're more beneficial than a good quality whey protein. You're just having added calories. I prefer to still stick with a clean whey protein that doesn't have all of this added maltodextrin, sugars, starches, just unnecessary calories. And I'd rather add my own extra calories in. Example, which I'll do in the kitchen next week. Protein, 1.5 scoops. Blue Star, I've been with them for well over a year. I'll show some of the recipes that we do with proteins. Love their vanilla. 1.5 scoops, I did that this morning. 1.5 scoops, scoop of oats, huge tablespoon of peanut butter, some oat milk, threw some fiber in there as well, some spinach and some celery. Maybe a little bit of ginger as well, helps with digestion. I blended that. It's a nice, thick, smooth, delicious protein shake. That's probably about 600 calories. So, you know, my breakfast smoothie, then if you want to say a lunch, a second meal in the day and dinner, 4 main meals, each round about 600 calories. That's still only 2,400 calories or so. You know, that's probably my bare minimum, just for maintenance. So take that into account when you're thinking about how many calories you're consuming and what your total daily intake would be. But we'll touch upon this a lot more in the kitchen. David Chong, all right, is it better to do cardio first, then do weights to get ripped? You know what? I started to do this very early on, and I found that it tired me out, and therefore it wasn't optimal for my weight training. You want to have the most energy to be able to lift the most weight, to be able to get the most micro tear stress on the muscles. That's what we're doing when we're weight training. We're stressing out the muscle fibers, creating these micro tears. So you want to have the most energy to do that. If you're unable to split your time between, let's say, fasted cardio in the morning, wake up, do your cardio, do some ab training, go about your day, hit weights later on, that would be my preferred choice. Even I don't have the freedom of time at this point to do that just yet. So what I do is I do my weights and then I'll do some cardio after. I've already stressed out the muscle. Don't fall into the trap where, I got to eat immediately, otherwise I'm going to lose all my gains. Look, providing you're not working out first thing in the morning and then not eating and then hitting cardio again, you know, you've got a good hour, 2 hour window. So hit your weight training. Cardio, I like hit training, high intense, still short bursts of effort. So rower, sprinting outside, 12 minutes. You don't need to do a whole lot of interval training. You're going to accelerate fat loss. You're going to boost your metabolic rate, get the weight training done first, do some form of fast, intense, short bursts of cardio after. And then maybe on a rest day from weight training, go on a bike ride, do some steady pace cardio, maybe a little bit longer, drawn out, keeping that interval at more of a set range. So hopefully that helped. There's certain questions we don't need to talk about here. If you're looking through the questions, you can probably see which one. How long are my workouts and how often do I do cardio? Yeah, my workouts probably about 5 times a week. Cardio, maybe twice at this point. And that's simply because I'm just on a maintenance phase. When I really want to kind of get like shredded and ripped and cut for some photos or video just for me, just to make it a little bit more interesting and give myself a goal, that probably pushes up to 4 or 5 sessions as well, but not always the same length. My workouts tend to be longer than my cardio sessions. Okay, I'm going to go final question. I'm just scrolling up and down. We're going to find a good one here. We are going to be back in the kitchen next week. Had that down for Tuesday, but I'm back at PowerTech doing a live stream with someone on Tuesday, so that might be a Wednesday. Okay. Okay, final question. Happy and joy. Does pyramid sets help build muscle mass? I see a lot of classic physique train that way. Yeah, that's basically the whole approach of what we've been talking about. I know with pyramid sets, we tend to maybe start off on a higher rep range and drop the reps down. So maybe 15 or 12, 10 and 8. And in each drop, in each set that we do, we push the weight up. That's basically the same that I've been doing. I like to keep a higher rep range, and I'll tell you why. Let's say I'm doing 40-pound dumbbell curls and I'm hitting 12 reps just about. So I'm going to go heavier. If I go up to 45 pounds and I drop my reps down to, let's say, 10 or 8, I'm lifting more weight, but ultimately for a shorter amount of time. So there comes a point where I may not really be, I'm overloading my muscles, but as far as getting them to work harder and requiring my body to have to beef up and get stronger and get a little bit bigger, I don't like dropping the reps down. So I pyramid my sets with heavier weight, but I tend to keep my reps the same. Now, that doesn't mean I won't go fewer reps. My goal is to still get those 12 reps, but on that third set, even though I've taken the weight up, I might be really struggling to get 12 reps and I'm only hitting 10 or I'm only getting 9. So on that note, my reps do come down. I'm just not setting myself up to say, great, if I hit 8 reps, I'm done. I always want to kind of have that elusive. You finish. It's because my camera only films for about 25 minutes and I like to talk. So just to finish off that point, I always like to kind of set myself an elusive rep range where I know I can't quite get there, but I'm trying. So if on my third set, I'm trying to hit 12 reps, by some miracle, I'm getting to that 11th or 12th rep with a heavier weight, I know that on my next workout, my starting set can be sort of the same weight that I did for set 2. Set 2, I can lift that same weight that I did for set 3. So by my new set 3, my next week, I should be able to go a little bit heavier. And these small incremental jumps of being able to lift heavier weight for the same amount of reps ultimately translates into my body, my muscle, becoming a hypertrophy, getting bigger, allowing more volume to be able to focus on that effort. So getting stronger, providing we have enough nutrition, in a black and white sense, allows us to get bigger. But that's about it for me. It's been about an hour. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been a little rocky getting back to doing these live streams. We've done a ton of videos as well that will be up on my YouTube next week. In the studio, some great videos for some great people, which I want to keep going, get them in. Basically, we'll just chat, talk, do some workouts, show some different exercises. And then I want to make a point doing these live streams where I'll put up the focus of that workout ahead of time. You can see what the workout's going to be like. Therefore, you can ask any particular questions about those workouts. And once I've gone through them, sit down, take a breather, and just answer many of the questions that I see you guys posting. So I love YouTube for this. We'll kind of get back on track with this. So it's all good. It's all good, Ravi. I see your question. Maybe I'll answer that in a DM. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully some of this was of use to you. Let me know if you've got any other ideas. We'll do some kitchen stuff. We'll get some more buddy workouts doing these. But yeah, hopefully you like this. You'll stick around for the next one. Make it a little bit shorter, but I just like to get a lot of information out there. I think if I keep it to 15 minutes, I'll show a couple of exercises and there's like 5 other movements that I want to show and talk about. So appreciate you guys for sticking around. Have a great rest of your day or evening. I'm going to get back to my workout now. And like I said, many more videos to come on YouTube. So thank you. God bless. Take care. See you all soon.